sick. Đào xoay kìa. Good day and welcome everyone to GrainSense's product launch event. We are very excited to have you all join us here today to learn about our new product, the GrainSense Flow Analyzer. My name is Greg Simonson and I am the Business Development Manager here at GrainSense. I will be your host today showcasing this exciting new product. We have prepared a demonstration for this new solution, which you'll see in a few minutes' time. We'll also be discussing the benefits of real-time grain quality analysis and how your business can use this technology to ensure every crop is fit for the right purpose at the right price using the right resources. At the end of the event, we also have reserved time for your questions that we have received beforehand, and we encourage you to put your questions into the chat during this presentation. We'll get back to your questions in the Q&A session at the end of the event. You'll receive a link to the recording after this event, so if there's any detail you want to go back and review, or if you need to leave early, you can always watch this again later. So, with that, I hope you have a nice cup of coffee in front of you, or tea, because we're about to start the event now. And we'll begin by having a look at GrainSense as a company. At GrainSense, we have two different products that we have out to the market. You can see on the left side of the screen the handheld GrainSense device, which many of you will be familiar with. Again, that's very useful in supporting grain producers, livestock farmers, researchers, grain traders, and the food industry as a whole. And on the right side of the screen you can see the GrainSense Flow Analyzer, which we will be covering more on today. And that can be used in silos, grain elevators, dryers, and combine harvesters. Look at GrainSense in the marketplace. So a bit of a timeline here. So GrainSense began operations in 2016. Based out of Oulu, Finland, where we are still based today. The following year, we had a product launch at Agritechnica in 2017. And now, in 2022, we are widening our portfolio with the addition of the GrainSense Flow Analyzer. And touching on the handheld devices, we have over 1,500 GrainSense handheld devices spread out over the world in 40 different countries. And on the map here you can see we're in North, South America, good concentration in Europe, Africa, India, Australia, Japan, and we're planning to grow that map as well. Having a look here at GrainSense calibrations and the manufacturing. So at headquarters in Oulu, we have a state-of-the-art laboratory where we have skilled, trained technicians, laboratory technicians, and as well as operators and engineers. And every year, we collect samples worldwide to help improve with our calibration robustness. All right, so let's have a look at the GrainSense Flow Analyzer. So at the top here, we have the dosing unit, which contains an auger. And here's the tube that goes down into our sensor, which includes the camera here in the middle. And here at the end of this dosing unit, you see there's another tube that goes on. And that's just to make sure that we don't overflow the system here. So that's a bypass tube going here. So we also have back in behind the sensor here, we call it the gateway. So that's a connection for the data that's collected here back into the cloud, so then we can further process that information. So the GrainSense Flow Analyzer is meant to be installed in mainly two different situations, one being the combine harvester and the other being grain facilities, so in places where grain is moved around, so at a grain elevator or at a producer's in their own facilities, in their own yards, or where you have a grain dryer. So those are the two main areas where the GrainSense Flow has a place to be installed. So the GrainSense Flow, currently we have two grains that it measures parameters for, and those being wheat and barley. And the two main parameters that we're looking at currently is protein and moisture. So the power source here, you can see this is the motor that runs the auger here. And so this is electric, so the power source can be one 10 volt and two 30 volt as well. And so now we'll start here. We'll take a measurement. So here's the interface, very user friendly. So here we'll just have a look at the settings. So here you can set up the internet. So you can either have Wi-Fi as the source or else SIM or satellite. And here you can select the language, so it's set up for English, but we have a number of other languages that we support as well. So here we can start taking the measurements. And so here it's set up for wheat, and that's what we have in the system currently. So right now it's showing, you can take the measurement at different intervals. So right now it's set up to take test every 5 seconds. So you can just click here, and I'll change that to 1 second in between tests, and click OK. And so the camera interval here is showing to be set up for 10 seconds in between. I'll change that to 5 seconds. Click OK. And another thing that we can do here is change the alarm. So for example, when the GrainSense Flow Analyzer is installed in a dryer setting, this is a perfect application of this, where if you're drying grain, say if it's wheat starting out at 18% moisture and you want to bring it down to dry at 14.5% moisture, you can set the alarm so that it goes off once you have reached a moisture of 14.5%. And then that will help you, so then you're not over drying your grain and spending more. And the same parameters and same options here are included for barley as well. So we'll save this. And now I'll put the system to go. So now it's just sending the settings. So on the top here, it's showing the latest protein. It's actually an average of the last 5 measurements here shown on the left. And then on the right side, it's showing the moisture percentages. And on the bottom here, so that's application of the camera. So you have, it's showing the green percentage for the green kernels. So 1.2% is what it's showing for the running average right now, and broken kernels at 0.8%. And here's the clear tube where you can see that it's flowing through the system, where it gets the camera and all the other information recorded. And a little more about the camera here. The GrainSense Flow Analyzer includes an optional camera vision system, which is based on state-of-the-art technology using machine learning. With this technology, users will get percentage of green and broken kernels seen by the camera vision system. Using this data from the camera, the user will have more insight on the grain quality, allowing them to make better informed management decisions. So now I can click here to stop the session. And now we can have a look over here at the dashboard to see the measurements that we have done. So if I click here at this one, silo is the name of it. So up at the top here we have protein and moisture. So it shows the minimum of 12.3% on the left and the maximum of 16.2 on the right, and moisture a minimum of 10.3 and a maximum of 11.4%. And then if we look down, there's some charting options that we can use here to further delve into the information that we're getting from the GrainSense flow analyzer. So here it's showing the percentage charted along a graph here, and we can also delve further into that information looking at the distribution of the protein. So this helps to get a picture of perhaps a average of the overall protein here when you see it in a distribution perspective. And you can do the same thing here then with the moisture content. And then so this picture here actually is the last picture that was taken during this particular session. So this session here is named Silo, and you can also down in this box here put different notes just to help keep track of whatever operation you have going on at the time. Now let's look at some of the benefits of the GrainSense flow analyzer. So in application, when it's installed in a grain handling facility, when you look at moisture, for example, you can be monitoring the moisture levels of the grain while receiving, while blending, as well as when you're shipping the grain. Another application is during the drying of grain. You can monitor that very closely to see the response of the moisture levels in the grain to your, for example, your temperature of your burner while you're drying, and also to make sure that you're not over drying the grain and thus spending more money on energy that you wouldn't need to. Also then when you look at the protein level that we'll be monitoring with our device, you can use that to blend and maximize the return for the protein level in the grain. And we also have the camera available for the grain handling facilities, and with the camera you'll be able to keep a close monitor on the green percentage as well as the broken kernel percentage of the grain, and we'll be able to monitor that in real time as well. The data from this will be stored and saved where it can be used to analyze the different parameters of the grain later and make storage and different management decisions based on that. Some of the benefits where we see when this device has been installed in a combine harvester is when you look at the data after harvesting of a field, you can do field mapping to see the different areas of the field, how they responded to fertilizer and different moisture and different environmental conditions. And from those maps you should be able to make better decisions in the future as it pertains to, for example, fertilizer application in the following spring. So as you can see, there are many benefits to the installation of the GrainSense flow analyzer, whether it be in a grain handling facility or in a combine harvester. And with that, we'll make some adjustments here and we'll move on to the Q&A session. Okay, so now moving into our Q&A session, I'm happy to welcome a friend that I'm happy to have here to help with answering these questions. So I'd like to welcome Antti Leinonen. He is the Chief Operating Officer here at GrainSense, and he has been very actively involved with the development of the GrainSense flow analyzer. So welcome, Antti.
Thank you, Greg. It's my pleasure to be here with you today, and good morning also to the audience, of course.
Okay, so we have collected a number of questions here that we did receive from a number of you during the registration period, and we'd also like to encourage those of you that are actively watching this feed to please enter any questions that may arise during the question and answer phase, or that maybe came to your mind during the demonstration. So we'll go into the questions here. So one question I have here from the audience, this was concerning the data and the moving of data in the system. So the question is, can we export the data to our own farm management or field management system?
Yes, this is a really good first question, and the connectivity has been one of the key drivers in this product development process, and we have really put attention on this. And the product, as it was demonstrated by you just a minute ago, itself is a closed system. So we have a GrainSense cloud storage, and the data is available from there for the users to visualize and analyze it. But on the other hand, we do have a bunch of different interfaces available for the future purposes, for example, B2B customization projects, whatever. So we have Ethernet, we have USB, CAN bus, serial bus, and of course nowadays it is always really practical to do this third-party integration by using cloud-to-cloud solutions.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, clearly we are ready to work with and ready to develop, if needed, means to work with a number of different systems where this will be installed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Another question we have here is concerning the species that the analyzer is able to work with. So the question is, are there other species available other than wheat and barley? And if so, when?
Yes, we do start with wheat and barley, but we are planning to also introduce calibrations for rapeseed, canola, maize and soybean later this year. So these 5, I would say, that will be there during this year.
Yeah, so we're definitely very excited to be adding those other species to our offering. So.
Yeah.
This is another question here concerning oil. So does this technology also measure oil content?
Yes, it does, and oil is, of course, oil content will be, of course, really important when going towards that canola and then soybean. But also with wheat and barley, the oil level will be there selectively. So oil is one of the key parameters there.
Right. Yeah. Definitely an important thing to be measuring in the oil seed. So another part to that question was from that same member from the audience. What is the statistical reliability of your analytical data compared to laboratory testing of the same grains?
Yes, a really good question. I'm not going to into really details here, but we do have a really high quality lab here in Oulu, and we have tested this product really well, carefully, and maybe to get some idea for these species that we are about to start with, wheat and barley, we can promise 0.6 for protein, 1 standard deviation distribution compared to those lab devices. And then when considering about the moisture content, it will be slightly better, maybe something like 0.5% unit, 1 standard deviation.
Yeah, okay, so clearly definitely reliable and accurate results that will be coming from
Yeah.
the GS Flow. So a question here concerning the installation of, and as we mentioned, it has a number of places where we believe that it has benefits to being installed. So the question is, how is the GS Flow installed?
Yes, the installation itself is flexible. We do provide with the product, of course, the installations instructions and guidance for that, and also we provide this installation mounting kit where we have certain parts to make the installation easier. But the main thing there is that the one who installs it, it is important that there is this grain available coming to that auger that we are now seeing there. So there is like input buffer for the system all the time. So that is the like a main thing to make it work. But the installation itself is flexible.
Okay, thank you for that. And yes, we definitely want to be involved when it's required as far as supporting the installation, just to make sure that this device will be acting as we wish it to be. So it's important that it's installed properly for sure.
Yeah.
A question here concerning the price. So Antti, what can you share with the audience today concerning pricing?
Today we won't open the pricing information, but the audience is more than welcome to contact our sales representatives. There is two approaches, so they could do it either through our website, so the contact information can be found from there, or also they could benefit from our existing distributor network globally. So contacting our existing GrainSense distributors and going through that is one option. But no pricing information in this event.
Okay. Yes, we definitely would be happy to follow up with any inquiries, whether it be through the website or through the distributors, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So, a question here concerning the camera. Again, so that was an optional feature. So the question is, what kind of camera is it that's used in the GS Flow analyzer?
Yes, this is absolutely great new feature and will be really helpful to measure certain parameters such as those broken and green kernels. So the camera itself is a full HD level CMOS camera, so state of the art, and it is also this PoE camera, so we can power up it through the Ethernet. So it is also one benefit of the camera model that we have selected.
Okay, thank you. Just at this point, I'd like to remind the audience here that's watching live, if you could, if you have any questions that have arisen, please feel free to add those questions to the chat. We're more than happy to respond to those. So please feel free to enter any questions there. A question here concerning maintenance. Is there any maintenance required for the analyzer?
Yes, it is designed to be like robust against dirt, but maintenance is required every now and then, and we do provide a brush with the product, for example, for the purpose that the glass tube that goes through the GS Flow sensor unit can be cleaned. So you just need to detach those hose clamps and then go through with the brush. Yeah.
Okay, good. Delivery time, that's a very good question. So someone here is asking about the expected delivery time if they're to put in an order.
Yes, situation is good. I'm happy to tell that the delivery time is from 8 to 12 weeks, but we serve first in, first out, so I really encourage our audience to start placing those orders to get the products first out. but
Yes.
8 to 12 months, weeks, sorry.
Right. Yeah. No, I have to echo that. We have definitely fielded lots of excitement from those that are aware of this launch coming here. So we want to encourage you to put your order in as soon as possible. Definitely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
A question here. This is concerning the camera and pictures. So, can you recognize something else from the pictures other than the green and broken kernels?
Yes, definitely we will, but we start with these two functionalities, and the machine learning nowadays is superb. It is amazing how it can be effectively applied into different applications, and we are looking forward to get even more those quality parameters that are important when considering the acceptance criteria when receiving the grain. So, for example, this mold is one important thing, and also there are certain limitations that there are no other mixed species. For example, when we are dealing with wheat, it should be wheat, no other species mixed. So these are, for example, two next candidates that we will introduce at some point.
Right. Yeah. I guess one point I would have to add to that, as far as integrity of the grain in a malting environment, I know it's definitely very important that you have malting barley, and you're not contaminated with other, say, wheat, or in a milling oat situation, for example, if you're gluten-free, you definitely do not want to have wheat mixed in. So I definitely see that there's potential in our camera system and in those systems as well. So
yes.
Question here concerning manufacture. So where is the device manufactured?
Yes, so we are ramping up the production now. So it's manufactured in Finland, and of course proud of that. We have really high quality standards on our production side. So Finland is the origin country.
Okay, a question here about the flow rate. What is the flow rate of grain through the analyzer?
Yes, so we have this DC motor which can be like adjusted, but we have found the best constant results by making the flow speed to be 100 grams per second, which equals to then 1 kilogram per 10 seconds, and further on it equals to 360 kilograms per hour. So that is the rough estimate of the flow going there.
Yeah. So we definitely believe that that's more than sufficient amount of grain flowing through the system, allowing to get a good representation of the grain that you are testing. So, question here concerning the product, where it can be purchased. So, where can I buy? A person here is asking, where can I buy this product?
Yes, as I explained a few minutes ago, so now you need to place request for quotation through our sales channels. So just bravely contact our sales representatives and start those detailed discussions.
Yes, please feel free to reach out to us. Question here again, this is about the auger and the rotating speed of the auger. Do you have the rotating speed of the auger?
Yes, of course. So the motor itself is 3,000 rounds per minute, and then there is a gear that is 15 to 1, which makes it 200 rounds per minute. So like roughly 3 times per second.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Question here concerning, so we went through the alarm system a little bit during the demonstration. Could you speak further about how the alarm output works?
Yes, so The alarm, the first practical use case is of course commanding the dryer. So one option is that we connect that relay. We have relay outputs, normally open and normally contacted relays, PLC relays inside our electrical cabinet. So that is one place where the physical connection can be then done.
Okay, thank you. And we are getting to the end of questions here. So again, I want to remind the audience to please feel free to ask any questions in the chat that may have arisen, as we will be getting close to the end of questions that I have here noted. So what is the IP class? Can you speak to that?
Yes, of course this will be used especially on combined side in a really harsh environment. So the GS flow sensor itself will be or is IP69K, so really the toughest class. And then the electrical cabin, the gateway solution itself will be IP54.
Okay, thank you. And it looks like I would have one more question here. It's concerning the certification of the GS Flow. So is the GS Flow Analyzer CE certified?
Yes, it needs to be. So yes, it is. And it goes under this machinery directive, and it even underlines the safety requirements. So we have carefully tested it against those harmonized standards that are commanded by that European Union directive, and so yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. So that brings us to the end of the questions that we have received before from during the registration for this event. So I'd like to thank Antti here for joining me and helping with answering a lot of these questions. And at this point, I also would like to thank the audience for coming and joining us here today. We're really appreciative that you took the time, and we really appreciate the feedback and all the questions that we have received, and we encourage you to reach out to us through our website, and as we mentioned here as well, you can contact our distributors through the website. And we look forward to receiving orders to ship the GrainSense Flow Analyzer out into wherever you are in the world. So again, thanks a lot from us here at GrainSense, and we're happy that you joined us here today.